Small business tax tip: how to get a sales tax certificate for a sales tax exemption. Did you know that your small business can be exempted from sales taxes on certain products you purchase? Not paying sales taxes can translate into significant savings, especially if your business buys in bulk and frequently. Depending on the types of products you buy and the states where you conduct business, the United States Small Business Administration estimates that you could save from 5% to 15% on state and local taxes for qualified products. The savings comes on items your business purchases for resale or components you buy to make something for resale. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing marvelous. I'm doing great. If you were to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today we want to talk about small business tax exemption, especially when it comes to getting a sales tax certificate for a sales tax exemption. Number one, how sales tax certificate work? Now, let's say you buy products in bulk at wholesale prices, and then you resell them at a retail price. Or maybe you buy parts and you put them together to make products to sell. In other words, you're not the final consumer of a product that you buy, but you are a transformer, you are a manufacturer, you are adding value. So I'm gonna give an example. Let's say you are a shoemaker, right? Shoemaker, you buy component parts used in the shoes you sell, and you are able to transform the different component into a final product that shows the value you have added. Now, in this case, you may be able to buy this parts tax-free by getting a sales tax certificate. Now, when you buy products for your business, you would generally be required to pay sales taxes on them, right? But you're not using them in your business. So if you're reselling this product at retail price, you can avoid paying sales tax. The thing is that a lot of small business owners don't know this, but you need to file an application to your state to be exempt from sales tax on this products or this purchases. So once you have that certificate, whenever you buy it wholesale, all you got to do and is just show the wholesaler your sales tax certificate, and they wouldn't charge you sales taxes. Now, it's a lot of money saved here. As I said earlier, the United States Small Business Administration, the SBA, estimates that you could save from 5% to 15% on state and local taxes for qualified products. Now, the good thing is that most businesses that accept sales tax certificates, they usually keep a record of them for frequent buyers. So in some cases, all you got to do is just to note your certificate number each time you buy. You don't have to show them the exact certificate, but just the number. Now, let's talk about the types of sales tax certificates. In the United States and Canada, there are generally two types of sales tax certificate. Reseller certificate. So these are the type in which, as described earlier, the products are purchased as wholesale and resold at retail. In some cases, a business will buy the products which are used in a product being sold. So building contractors, for example, they will buy building materials used in construction. So purchase of these materials might qualify for a reseller's permit. Now, in the last few years, we've had a lot of resellers, online resellers developed also in terms of online sales, right? People on eBay, people on Mercari, people on Amazon being resellers. They could also qualify, but they need to check with their particular state. For example, California is very great, is very lenient when it comes to sales tax certificates for online resellers. So they will, the state has been issuing a lot of resellers permits to people in the state. So it really depends on your particular state. So the first type, as I said, was reseller certificate. The second type is exemption certificate. So a sales tax exemption certificate is for an exemption from sales tax for a specific type of products. For example, some states such as New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Georgia will exempt the purchase of computers for resale. Now, in the last 5 years, a lot of states have also followed suit. So most states, I would say right now, as of the date of this show, are giving exemptions when it comes to the purchase of computers for resale. So states vary in the products and services that may be considered exempt from sales tax. Some states like Wyoming, California, and Nevada, they distinguish between reseller certificates and exemption certificates. If you really think about it, it all boils down to the state's economic objectives, right? If the goal is to push one particular sector, one particular industry, they will be handing over reseller permits and reseller certificates and exemption certificates to people because they're trying to boost that particular industry. So it's all about the states. This is why the IRS and the federal authorities are not getting involved in that. Okay, so I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. If you just join us, or you've been listening to this show for a while and you like the clarity and quality of the show, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You can also feel free to comment below. Let us know your experience when it comes to a sales tax exemption. If you live in a state that doesn't offer that, all states do offer that, but some states are very strict when it comes to the products that qualify for sales tax exemption. Share this content and like. How to qualify for a sales tax certificate? That's the question that a lot of small business owners in the United States and Canada are asking themselves nowadays. To get this savings on sales taxes, you first need to apply to your state for something called a sales tax certificate. So you got to go to the website of your state tax agency and search for a sales tax certificate. So a sales tax certificate may also be called a reseller certificate, reseller's license, or a tax exempt certificate. Again, it depends upon your state. It depends upon the legal classification in the particular state where you live in. A sales tax certificate is for exemption from sales tax paid. Remember, not sales tax you collect from customers. So to collect sales tax in a state, you must complete a registration process for a state sales tax permit with that state. So to qualify to be exempt from sales tax, the items you buy must not be used in your normal course of business. As I said earlier, those items must be work in process. They must go into the transformation. They must go into the manufacturing process. They must go into in other words, they should not be the final products. You should not consume this in your normal course of business. You should resell them. So the value added tax, that's what sales tax is. The value added tax, you're not paying that as a final consumer. You are just as an intermediary consumer here. For example, you cannot buy copy paper and ask for a sales tax exemption because you're using that copy paper in your office. Okay, some states have limits. That's something that's critical to remember on the type of products that can be purchased without paying sales taxes. As I said earlier, it all boils down to economic strategy. It all boils down to economic vision. If the state authorities are trying to push one industry versus another, or they're trying to boost economic activity in a particular region, in a particular city, in a particular locality in the states. All right. How to apply for a sales tax certificate. Now, you need to go to your state revenue department for when it comes to applying for a sales tax certificate. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a business in a few states, Oregon, New Hampshire, Montana, Delaware, Alaska, you don't need to pay sales tax at all. Isn't that wonderful? Again, going back to what I said, it boils down to economic strategy. First, you want to go to your state's tax department website. So when you get to the site, you have to do some searching. As I said earlier, you have to find the right category for the right page for the sales tax certificate. Look for the types of products and services that might qualify for a sales tax certificate, because not all products are eligible in all states. So to complete the form, you will be asked about your business and about the reason for the exemption. Let's take an example. In Iowa, the state of Iowa, you need to provide everything from your business name, address, the legal structure of your business. The same is true for New Jersey, New York, Georgia, Florida, and Illinois. Okay, so you want to look for the type of products that apply to you. Then you're asked to select your business type from a list: LLC, LLP, sole proprietor, S corp, C corp. Finally, you're asked to check the reason for the exemption from the list of allowable reasons. In other states like California, Wyoming, and Nevada, you complete the application form by inserting your own description of the products being requested as being exempt. So they don't have a form as of the date of this show. They don't have I would say a formal form. Can I say that? A formal form. They don't have a standard form where you just have to put the info in. You just have to insert your own description. You have to type something and explain, and the state tax reviewer will just read your description and decide to reject or approve your application. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still having a conversation today around the interesting topic of small business tax exemption when it comes to sales, when it comes to getting a sales tax certificate. Now, sales tax certificates in multiple states. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or you're a small business owner with operations and interest, commercial interest, that is, in multiple states, it might be interesting to apply for sales tax certificates in multiple states, in all the states where you operate. Unfortunately, there is no equivalent at the federal level, which means that entrepreneurs might have to basically apply individually, one by one, and that's very, that's a little sad. So if you do business in several states, you may have to apply to each of those states to receive a sales tax certificate. First thing first, you got to establish whether you have a sales tax nexus in each state. This is something a sales tax nexus is something a little more convoluted. We have an entire show dedicated to that, so I'm not going into details here. Now, just to want to give you a quick definition, a tax nexus is a specific way to determine if a business is required to pay taxes in that state. A tax nexus may be determined by having physical locations in a state, selling items in that state, or having employees in the state. So, to save time in completing several tax certificate applications, you may be able to use the multi-state application form from the Streamlined Sales Tax Organization. There's an organization called the Streamlined Sales Tax, and they have come up with a brilliant idea. They've had a multi-state application form. The thing is that form always does not apply to all kinds of small businesses. So you need to double check before. For instance, if you're a sole proprietor, or you are an LLC, or you own an LP, or you own an S corp, the multi-state application form does not always apply. But otherwise, if it does apply to you, it's a money saver, it's a time saver. Let's talk now about nonprofits and sales tax certificates. Now, remember that a nonprofit can be certified by the IRS as tax-exempt organization. Now, the tax-exempt status is only for income taxes. So, the organization may still have to pay sales taxes. So, the state where the nonprofit is registered determines whether that organization must pay state and local sales taxes. So, if you are a nonprofit, if you run a nonprofit, it might be helpful for you to contact the revenue authorities in your state and ask them whether you can get the sales tax exemption, and go through the same process that I described earlier. You have to fill the form, you have to enter your information, you have to enter the address, the 501c3 number, the code, the 501c3 number that you got from the IRS that proves that you are indeed a philanthropy, you qualified as a nonprofit organization. And you also have to describe the products and the product that you buy, and services that you buy, and how they go into your organization operating model. In other words, it's not you don't buy these products for your own consumption, for the organization's consumption, but you use them, for instance, as a working process, right? You use the product as part of another product you sell. And let me give you an example. Let's say you run, you have a fundraising event, and you buy stuff at, you buy toys, for instance, at a local store, and you transform those toys and you resell them to raise money. If you play your cards right, you are able to prove to the revenue authority that you do not use this in your normal course of business, you can qualify for sales tax exemption. Okay. All right. So let's quickly do a recap here of today's conversation. So, small business tax tip: how to get a sales tax certificate for a sales tax exemption. I talked to you about how sales tax certificates work, the different types of sales tax certificates, how to qualify for a sales tax certificate, how to apply for one, sales tax certificates in multiple states, especially when I talked about the multi-state application form from the streamlined sales tax organization, and last but not least, nonprofits and sales tax certificates. All right, folks, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. And until then, remember, stay marvelous.